Of course we know about that. Sima Qing said as he put on a serious face, we'll get them to keep it a secret. They wanted to rise and not get exterminated. This Imperial Beast art was enough to make the whole continent go crazy. It was as impactful as Sky Splitter. He was moved deeply as he looked at Sima Yu. Just like what the rumor said, she was the lucky star of the clan and brought so many changes to the clan after she came back. Sometimes, a spirit skill could raise a force. There was once where fusing brought the Sima clan to the peak as it was a very powerful spirit skill by itself. Sima clan would rise in no time since they had the Imperial Beast art now, they just had to combine these two skills. But like what she said, no one should know about this or else it would bring a lot of trouble. She didn't need to say much as these people were experienced. We'll head back first. Sima Yu bowed in greeting and brought Wu Lingyu back. On the way back, Sima clan members ran over to greet her when they saw her. Wu Lingyu didn't mind at first, but after he realized most of them were men and they glared at Sima Yu brightly, he started to feel uncomfortable. So when he saw someone coming up to them, he gripped her hand to silently announce his ownership of her. The Sima clan members were curious about him at first but they couldn't respond in time as they saw him holding their goddess's hand. What does he mean? What else can it mean? He's unhappy with you guys. Sima Chi laughed, Yu is already taken. Damn it. Really? Of course. Did you see Yu struggle away? Sima Chi looked at them in rejoice of their disappointment. Humph, who asked you guys to wander around Yu's courtyard all the time? Sima Yu lifted her head and laughed secretly as she saw Wu Lingyu's expressionless face. But she let him hold her hand and walked openly into Sima Manor. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to hand out the Imperial Beast art. Sima Yu smiled. I've already told you before we met them, you can do whatever you want to it since I've already handed it to you. This is your clan, you'll benefit when they get stronger. And also. What? Since I'm going to move in here, it will belong to the Sima clan sooner or later. PFFF, cough cough, Sima Yu looked at him dumbstruckly, you must be kidding me. Wasn't it just a joke? Who said that I was joking? Sima Yu twitched her lips, he was serious about it. Wu Lingyu's face suddenly got closer to hers, both of them were about to kiss. Don't you agree? Wu Lingyu took this chance to kiss her on her lips. Up to you. Sima Yu held his face with her hands and pushed him away and pinched his cheeks at the same time. Eloping was definitely out of the options. There was enough time to discuss if she was marrying off or if he was moving in. Those people who tagged along were heartbroken when they saw them kissing, many of them hit their own chest, our goddess really got together with him. Why was she taken when we just got a goddess and not long ago? What's there to be afraid of, they aren't married yet, how can we give up so easily? There's no corner that we can't dig, it's just that the shovel isn't hard enough. Someone shouted. That's right, it's not like we don't have a chance. From tomorrow onwards, I'll show more of my existence and there might be hope when she remembers me. I'll do that too. However, on the second day, they received the news that she left with Wu Lingyu when they went to her courtyard to wander around. Everyone was stupefied, their faces turned pale and couldn't come back to sense. Why did she leave just like that? At the same time, Sima Yu was standing outside the Spirit Master Guild watching Wu Lingyu and Yin Lang staring at each other. Wu Lingyu and her went to Spirit Master Guild in the morning, they wanted to use the transportation array to go to Cord City as there was a spatial ship to go to 32nd State, but they didn't expect to see Yin Lang there. This guy ran away yesterday and went missing for the whole day, she didn't expect that he would be waiting for her here. Let's go together since we're all going there. No need. Wu Lingyu rejected without hesitation, it's out of the way. It's not up to you to decide if it's out of the way or not. From then on, both of them started staring at each other. Both of them stared at each other for over 10 minutes and started to speak just when Sima Yu wanted to speak. You're not confident. Yin Lang continued, you're afraid that she'll fall for me if I come with you guys. Do you think such childish reverse psychology will work on me? Wu Lingyu's eyes were filled with self-confidence and disdain of other men, but I won't interfere with her freedom from making friends. You can follow if you want to. That's what you said. Of course. It's getting late, let's go. Wu Lingyu held Sima Yu's hand and went into the Spirit Master Guild right after he spoke. Sima Yu secretly rolled her eyes. Yin Lang might not realize it, but she knew what Wu Lingyu was thinking just by looking at his eyes. He agreed to let Yin Lang follow them not because he didn't want to interfere with her freedom from making friends, he wanted to provoke him by displaying affection in front of Yin Lang so that he would give up. So childish. But she didn't say anything, he could do it if he wanted to, she was willing to accommodate to him as long as he didn't take it too far. 3 of them went to Cord City, but they went to the He clan as the spatial ship would be here in a few days. He Zhang and Su Lunyan were elated when they saw Sima Yu. Why didn't you tell us that you're coming? Although Su Lunyan was grumbling, the smile on her face was loving. I'm here to board the spatial ship and came here for a visit since there's still a few more days before it gets here, at the same time, I'm here to re-examine you. Sima Yu said. My health is good, all the sickness from my soul being trapped has recovered fully. Su Lunyan said. Still, it's better to check. Sima Yu gave her a re-examination to make sure that she was fully recovered before she concluded her treatment. He Zhang was at the side and spoke when he heard that they were going to board the spatial ship after a few days. Are you guys going to 32nd State? Yes. Are you sure you guys want to participate? I heard it's really strange there. He Zhang asked. Uncle He, don't you intend to go? Sima Yu asked. He must have heard about it, but after hearing that, he decided not to participate. This ancient mine is too strange, although it is a good opportunity, you have to live to be able to get it. He Zhang said rationally, also, I have something more important to handle. Are you going to investigate the undeads? Sima Yu asked. Yes. He Zhang continued, it's not easy to attack Lu Nian. And I think it might not even be related to us. Uncle He, what have you found out? There are actually some things that don't add up. He Zhang hesitated but decided to tell her what he found out. You have to be careful of people with black cloaks. Black cloaks? Many people wear that. For now, I know that these people wear black cloaks and have yet to find out any other signs. He Zhang continued, according to what we have investigated for the past few months, the amount of deaths that are questionable in the continent this year. But the Yang clan has no relation to this. In what way is it strange? I'm not sure how to explain, but when I see a corpse, it doesn't feel like a normal death. He Zhang continued, I've seen a corpse last month that made people feel weird about it. If those people are killed by those undeads, they will naturally have the death aura. It's normal that you guys will feel uncomfortable as you guys are bright attributed spirit masters. Sima Yu explained. Maybe. He Zhang continued, and also, there are a lot of missing corpses these years. Missing? They must have been taken back to be refined into an undead. Sima Yu said affirmedly, if they kill someone that they want to kill and make them their strength, they will become more powerful. Yu, wouldn't the corpse decay and smell? How can those people take it? Su Lu Nian asked curiously. They must be using some secret ways to do something to the undeads. Sima Yu guessed, but we'll only know when we see the corpse. You must be alert no matter what. Su Lu Nian warned. I will. Sima Yu responded. Let's go, I'll bring you guys to the place you'll be staying. If only I could go out and appear in front of others, would want to go and take a look as well. Su Lu Nian chatted as she coiled her arm around Sima Yu's arm. She glanced at Wu Lingyu astonishingly and shook her head feeling regretful after she knew that Wu Lingyu was Sima Yu's sweetheart. I was thinking of introducing you to a nephew of mine, but it seemed like it's not a good idea. Su Lu Nian said as she felt it was a pity. Sima Yu twitched her lips, introducing a nephew to her. Was she trying to matchmake her? Su Lu Nian continued without waiting for her to reply, with that said, my nephew is a person of outstanding talent. He can barely match up to you. Sigh, it's a pity that it's too late. Sima Yu didn't know what else to say except to laugh awkwardly. Alright, don't be shy. I'm just saying. Su Lu Nian laughed seeing her like this, but she was still as gentle as last time. Oh right, he's going to the ancient mine as well, please look after him if you meet him then. May I know who Aunt He's nephew is? He is Su Yu. Su Yu? The talent from the Su clan in 19th state? Yin Lang asked curiously and said, you're a part of the Su clan? That's right. Su Lu Nian said as she smiled lightly. Do you know him? Sima Yu asked. The Su clan is a big clan in 19th state. That very year, Su Yu was the talent with a reputation that was close to your father's. Yin Lang continued, but he's a little lacking compared to me. Sima Yu knew that in the past, her father and master were very popular in the inner region. It seemed like he had a big reputation if he were equally famous as her father. Wonder if master would go too. It had been long since she last saw her. If he saw how much she grew, would he be proud? And he, is Feng clan in Yi prefecture? She asked. No, why are you asking? Su Lu Nian was curious. My master and father were good friends, I'm thinking that he's from Yi prefecture too. Oh. Why didn't you ask your father since he's your father's friend? Their relationship became awkward because of my mother. I didn't ask because I don't know if my father wants to be reminded of him. Sima Yu continued, his name is Feng Zhixing, member of the Feng clan from the central regions. Oh, you're talking about Feng Zhixing. I knew who he was once you mentioned his name. Su Lu Nian continued, there isn't any Feng clan here, but there is an alliance force of the Feng clan. Which force is that? Integral Moon Palace. Integral Moon Palace? Is that the Integral Moon Palace I'm thinking about? Sima Yu looked at Yin Lang, why was his expression so weird? Why? Integral Moon Palace is a very mysterious force, they thread in the inner region but rarely anyone knows about their place. Yin Lang continued, other than the Feng clan, they have many alliance forces in the continent. These forces will choose their capable disciples or members and send them in. They will be in a high position once they get in Integral Moon Palace. Your master is one of them. Does that mean that I won't be able to find him? Sima Yu was disappointed. They might come to the ancient mine since it stirred up. Su Lu Nian comforted, your master will definitely look for you when he knows that you went to the inner region. There's no rush. Sima Yu responded. The three of them stayed in He clan for a few days and left when the spatial ship came. What made her surprised was that she actually saw Yang Shi and the others on the ship. They haven't left after so long, but Yang Shi felt otherwise. When she saw Sima Yu, to be accurate, when she saw Yin Lang who was beside Sima Yu, she walked towards them with a fervent gaze. Young Miss Yu, what a coincidence that we've met again. Yang Shi smiled as she greeted. That's such a coincidence. Sima Yu tugged the corner of her lips, the convention has been over for so long, why are you guys still here? We were delayed by Madame He's illness initially, but we felt that it's not bad here, so we stayed up till now. Although Yang Shi was answering her question, her eyes were fixated on Yin Lang. For Li Yao and Fang Qi, their eyes had never moved away after seeing Wu Lingyu. Sima Yu was disturbed by those naked gazes. She coiled around Wu Lingyu's arm and smiled at them, it's getting late, we should go back and rest. Lingyu, let's go back. Wu Lingyu was melting after seeing her pout. Since you're tired, let's go in and take a rest. There's no nice scenery here anyway. He brought her in the room without batting an eyelid after he spoke. Li Yao and Fang Qi kept their gaze disappointedly. They turned their heads and saw Yin Lang still looking at their side with gloomy eyes. City Lord Lang, who is that? Fang Qi was the most oblivious to his facial expression and asked what she wanted to know. Holy son of Sage Pavilion. Yin Lang responded with a sentence, walked around them and went back into his room. Yang Shi clenched her hands tightly as if her nails were going to pierce into her flesh. Yin Lang didn't even take a glance at her once when she stood there for so long. His focus was all on that woman. Why hadn't he given up when she already had others? I didn't expect that person to be the holy son of Sage Pavilion. Fang Qi was excited that she felt like fainting as she placed her hands on her chest. Humph, why are you so excited? Have you not seen how that woman proclaims him with actions? Yang Shi sneered, that guy spoils that little bitch Sima Yu. That woman is so evil, she always has men around her no matter where she goes. She even has City Lord Lang and now even the Holy Sun. Fang Qi said ruthlessly. That's right, this is why she should die even more now. Initially, they wanted to kill her to get on Yang Shi's good side, but now they had their own reason to kill her now. They couldn't take any action now since they were on the ship. They must be going there for ancient mines since everyone was going towards 32nd state. In the room, Wu Lingyu leaned on the bed with Sima Yu laid down with her head on his thighs and her hand playing with his hair. You know those people from earlier on? Considered so. They wanted to kill me. Sima Yu continued as she felt the pressure around her become lower. She patted his body and said, they have yet to take any substantial actions, they were just thinking about it. They should die even just thinking about it. Wu Lingyu's voice sounded like he desired to kill even though he said it lightly. Are you even holy son of Sage Pavilion? You kill just because you want to? Sima Yu stared at him. I'm the devil emperor of the devil realm, I kill when I want to. Wu Lingyu took an exception, he used to kill many people in the past anyway. This is not the devil realm. Sima Yu continued, there's no action taken yet, I won't stay still if they really want to do anything. But I think the possibility of them doing it is higher now, Sima Yu pulled his hair lightly, didn't you see the gaze that Fang Qi and Li Yao gave you? I didn't have feelings for Yin Lang, that's why Yang Shi didn't take any actions even if she wanted to. Now that you're here and even more as my boyfriend, I think they are unable to hold back anymore, I'll get rid of them. After he spoke, his hair was pulled hardly by Sima Yu. For the war between women, only those weak and incompetent women will rely on their man to resolve this. She muttered, aren't you trying to show that I'm weak and incompetent who can't even protect their own men if you kill them? Alright, then I'll let you protect me. Wu Lingyu moved his legs, he carried her up with a lift of his long arms, he embraced her as he bent down and seized a kiss on her lips. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu never left the house the whole time when they were on the way to 32nd state. Sima Yu studied the armament letter and at the same time, she got Wu Lingyu to guide her. She told him about the purifying materials and processes that she did in the past and he pointed out the points that she didn't fulfill. Sima Yu became enlightened after hearing what he said and felt that she upgraded herself. She tried the method he told her and the purity became much better. How is it that you know everything? How did you act like someone with a pea brain all these while? She held his face as she checked on the left and right and felt like prying his head open to take a look. Wu Lingyu held her hands, I'm born with it, you can't afford to be envious. Pa. 2 slightly reddened marks were marked on his fair face, she withdrew her hands calmly, my bad, my hand slipped. Wu Lingyu gripped her hands and laughed, your hand slipped. He placed her hands on his face and rubbed, it's indeed smooth. Sima Yu's face blushed, this guy became so rogue when he was indecent. Outside the room, Yin Lang stood in the corridor with a desolate gaze. It had been so long since the last time they came out. He could imagine what would happen between both of them. From afar, Ying Shi and the other 2 watched with hatred in their eyes. The only difference was that one was for Yin Lang and the other 2 was for Wu Lingyu. It seems like we really need to get rid of her as soon as possible. Fang Qi said hatefully, I feel so too, there's no need to wait till ancient mine. It was the first time Li Yao felt that her presence was irksome. Are you guys confident that you can kill her without them knowing if we don't wait till ancient mine? Yang Shi sneered, don't leave a bad impression for him since you guys like that man. A life can be taken away at the ancient mine even if something small happened, at that point of time, they won't blame it on us if anything happens to her. Alright, we'll let her live for another 2 days. The distance between 32nd state and 64th state was little further, they would only reach after a month. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu came out from the room only when the ship was about to stop. Yin Lang immediately noticed that her clothes had changed. A spirit master was able to avoid dust so their clothes wouldn't be dirty even after wearing for long. They would change diligently but usually they wouldn't change when they were out or inconvenient. She actually changed her clothes, with a guy in the same room. Li Yao noticed it too, the hatred in her eyes became deeper. Wu Lingyu gave others a comfortable feeling, she felt like she found home after seeing him. She understood that it could be a skill of Sage Pavilion, but she couldn't help but fall for him from the moment she saw him. 3 of them, including Sima Yu, passed the room numbers to the beautiful crew on the deck. After they alighted the spatial ship, Yang Shi and the others caught up with them. We don't like to have outsiders with us. Yang Shi and the rest were flabbergasted, they got rejected before they even spoke. It must be the bitch who incited this. I wouldn't let her go this time. 3 of them had the same thought instantly, birds of the same feather really flocked together. Previous chapter. Sima Yu rushed to the ancient mines after they alighted from the spatial ship. Sima Yu sat on the flying beast that was borrowed from the Spirit Master Guild. It looked similar to an original bird. This was handled by Yin Lang's members. Not long after they alighted the spatial ship, Yin Lang brought them to the flying beast. Speaking of which, why are we using a flying beast instead of a transportation array? 32nd state has the least place for transportation array among all the states. It's not suitable to build a transportation array here as the space here isn't stable. Yin Lang explained, also, transportation array won't bring us to the place we want to go. How long will it take for us to get there? Half a month. I'm not sure, we'll need to see. Sima Yu was still curious what he meant. She finally understood after getting into a few tornadoes and storms, it was impossible to rush under these circumstances. The weather here is so strange. There's actually tornadoes and storms. They hid in a cave as they listened to the howls of the wind. 32nd state has always been strange, that's why there are so many wasteland, and also because of that, no one has ever found out about the ancient mine. Or maybe someone found out in the past, but never got out before. Sima Yu guessed, I wonder if the extreme weather is related to the existence of the ancient mine. I'm not sure about this, it's quite impossible for a mine to affect the state's weather. Wu Lingyu said. Butterfly effect. Sima Yu said, butterfly effect? It was the first time Yin Lang heard about this, so he was curious. Sima Yu explained to him what butterfly effect was, and Yin Lang was speechless upon hearing it. It might be possible with the theory you said. Regardless if it's possible or not, it doesn't affect us because we won't change anything. Sima Yu looked at the sands and stones that the tornado swept up. How long will this weather last? Half a month if it's long, 3 to 5 days if it's short. Then we will have to wait. She looked at the surrounding, there was nothing special as it was a spacious and empty cave. We should do something here since we'll have to wait. What do you want to do? We'll have to reward ourselves and our flying beast. Yin Lang watched as Sima Yu took out a bunch of pots and pans and a table full of vegetables and meats. Are you going to cook? He watched in shock as she arranged it skillfully. Yes. Sima Yu smiled at him, don't we have nothing to do? Even the spirit master knows how to cook. Spirit masters usually didn't like to eat, needless to say cook. Yin Lang kept his comments to himself. If it wasn't nice, he would eat it too. Sima Yu could tell what he was thinking, but she laughed without saying anything. Wu Lingyu came to her side and skillfully passed her the ingredients and seasonings. Yin Lang looked at them, both of them had so much chemistry, every time Sima Yu wanted something, it would be in front of her when she lifted her head. And for her, she smiled at him lightly and continued cooking. He lowered his head, this kind of chemistry between them wasn't built overnight. The smile she gave Wu Lingyu every time was so sweet, that kind of smile was happiness from the deep down. This was different from the light smile she gave others. A while later, the cave was filled with fragrance, even the flying beast transformed and ran over. Chirp chirp. Flying beasts like this were all tamed by humans, they didn't know how to talk and their energy was all focused on speed. It gathered around and kept running around non-stop in excitement. Sima Yu threw a piece of barbecued meat to it when she saw how excited it was. It held the meat with one mouth, swallowed it at once and looked at her with widened eyes. You finished it so quickly. Although Sima Yu sounded like she was lecturing it, she gave it a plate of barbecued meat. Smells good. Yin Lang gathered over and helped himself with a plate of barbecued meat. You've got to eat it with this. Sima Yu threw a jar of wine over, Yin Lang unsealed it after catching it and the fragrance of the wine drifted out. It tastes good. Oh right, I heard that you'd opened many restaurants that sell many kinds of fruit wine. Yin Lang took a sip after he spoke, it tasted really good. I didn't think that you could cook such good food. Of course. Sima Yu continued, but not everyone can eat what I cook. Count myself lucky then. Yin Lang was agonized, he didn't know how to explain such happiness. Wu Lingyu saw how sad he was, his lips curled and the food tasted more delicious. Hehe, you were asking for it when you decided to follow us. Sima Yu cooked a table full of food, as the beasts were there, she cooked more meat, the others were vegetables. The beast went to rest at a side as it was full from eating when she sat down. Everyone get in. A hurried voice and disheveled footsteps was heard from outside, following which, a group of people ran in from outside, they were whining about the weather while they were running. It smells so good. A surprised voice was heard from the entrance of the cave and a silhouette of them rushing in was seen. Bang! That silhouette knocked onto a blue spirit barrier and fell hard on the ground as she was bounced back. Ouch! That person stammered as she rubbed her bottom. Sima Yu felt familiar with the scene she just saw, with a familiar voice, she saw a familiar person. It's you. Why are you here? She cried out at the same time with that person. Siyu jumped from the ground and walked to Sima Yu slowly, afraid that she knocked on the blue spirit barrier once again. Lingyu. Sima Yu took a glance at Wu Lingyu and the spirit barrier disappeared after Wu Lingyu waved his hand. I knew it, you are the only one who can cook with such a relishing smell. Siyu sat on the table, quickly put a piece of meat in her mouth and happily pulled her to catch up. Siyu, why are you here? Sima Yu took out Siyu's favorite wine and placed it in front of her. You guys go and find a place to rest. Siyu waved to the people behind her before she answered Sima Yu's question. I find Ghost City boring after you left, so I came out to take a stroll. Father and the rest couldn't stop me, so they sent a bunch of people to follow me. I didn't want it either, but I can only get out if they follow me, so I have to agree. Hehe, I didn't expect to bump into you shortly after I came out, we have so much fate. Your father really isn't worried about you. Sima Yu sighed once she finished listening to everything. Of course he isn't. Siyu said, beaming, father said that we haven't gone out in a long time, so it's alright to go out and take a look at the world. What will you do if you encounter any sort of danger? Sima Yu glanced at the people she brought with her. Although they were powerful, there weren't many of them. We have a special method to leave this place. If anything happens, we can contact them and they can come over quickly. We don't have to go through as much trouble as you guys do. See, you didn't say much. However, when she saw her confident appearance, she believed that she probably really had a way to do so. Sima Yu thought about it and felt like that was true. They had lived in Ghost City for so many generations and people were able to come and go. After so many years, it made sense that some people would figure out a way that others didn't know about. Right, after we leave, what will happen to the things in the city? Similar to how it's been before. We'll just split it. There used to be 4 main managing clans, but it will now be managed by 3. Sima Yu said. The Zhang clan agreed as well. Could they oppose? You killed their boss, and they're no longer as powerful as they were before. Under those circumstances, what could they do? That's true. Wu Lingyu stayed at the side without saying anything. Yin Lang listened to their conversation and was also rather surprised. Ghost City? Was it the place of the legends? She was familiar with the people from Ghost City, and even spoke about things there. Could it be that she had gone there before? Although he was surprised, he didn't reveal much of it in his expression. He continued to immerse himself in eating. Yu, since you guys came over here, are you heading to the ancient mines as well? We can travel together. Are you heading there as well? That's right. Father said that, since we are already out, we should go and take a look and let me take a look at the world. We might even be able to meet some ancient dark spirit beasts. If we can grab some back, it will be so trendy. Sima Yu pursed her lips. Grab an ancient spirit beast? If there really were any living spirit beasts, wouldn't that be a terrifying thing? Like Little Golden. He merely lived for a long time but his battle abilities did not lose out to Little Seven at all. If he evolved to his state today, his strength would be able to increase by leaps and bounds. This place is incomparable to how it was over there. If you want to go with me, you have to listen to me. She needed to lay down the ground rules first. Otherwise, once this girl acted up, she might not be able to stop her. Alright. No problem. Just because you're my younger sister. Siyu hung onto Sima Yu's neck and sighed, I've always been obedient, haven't I? You have to listen to what I say as well later on. Otherwise, I won't take you with me anymore. I got it. You became more naggy since you came back here. Sima Yu glared at Siyu. When did she become naggy? It was clearly because this was a different environment. Inside Ghost City, she was the young miss of the Sea clan, the princess of the North City. Anyone who saw her would recognize her. However, this wasn't Ghost City. This was the inner region with many powerful experts. They wouldn't care about her identity as the princess of Ghost City. If they were irritated, they would kill without a care. She told Siyu about her analysis of the current situation. She didn't want her to throw her life away based on her personality. Siyu nodded seriously and said with a serious expression, I just came here to play, so I will listen obediently to you about everything. Relax. When she saw her make these assertions, she recalled how playful she was back in Ghost City and felt like she really couldn't relax. Once they were full, Sima Yu and Siyu sat in the cave and chatted leisurely. The others sat around and rested in the cave as well. Sima Yu told Siyu about many things that happened in the continent. This was Siyu's first time coming outside, so she was very new to everything. She listened very attentively and Yu had to keep on talking all the way until the storm stopped. Sima Yu really was very lucky. The storm didn't last very long. Once the sky looked clear, they continued on their journey. As they flew, they saw that many places below them had been ravaged by the storm's passing. Although there were no landslides and cracks in the earth, big boulders were strewn around and huge trees were uprooted, tossed about on the ground. They should have come from another place. Looking at the mess below, Sima Yu clicked her tongue. It was no wonder nobody set up residence here. This was simply an uninhabitable place. There is a bit of space here that is stable, it's best if you follow the route of my flying beast. Is your flying beast very powerful? They aren't very strong, but after living here all their life, they know which places they need to look out for. Alright then. Siyu instructed their flying beasts to follow behind Yin Lang and the others. After a few more days of walking, they saw the ancient mines. They encountered similar weather to the one before and had no choice but to look for a place to rest. With Siyu, this glutton, Sima Yu had no choice but to become the chef again and cook up a meal for everyone. Once it was clear, they set on their way again. A short while later it happened again, so they had to wait then journey again. It was clearly a route that would only take half a month, but they had to journey for an entire month before they arrived. It was no wonder Yin Lang had said that he was unable to confirm how long they would need. Sima Yu's group arrived in front of a desert. It was already filled with people and many tents were set up. Are these the ancient mines? The scorching heat made Siyu a little uncomfortable. Not quite. Quite. It was rare for Wu Lingyu to speak. This is the Takagon Desert. The mines are in the heart of it. It's still very far from here. Then why is everyone staying here without heading inside? You can't come out after entering this desert. You can say that the Devil's Gate to the ancient mines begins here. Yin Lang said, that is why everyone has chosen to set up camo here and scout out the competition at the same time. So many powers dare not to go in, just how evil is the desert. Siyu's eyes shone again. She always became like this when there was something fun to look forward to. First, let's find a place to pitch our tents. Then we can see if we can find out any information. Alright. They left those people and found a place that had relatively less people and set up their tents. She let out a few more powerful scarlet bees to head around and scout for information. Very quickly, she received some news. It was even quicker than the people Lang had sent to scout for information. How is it? Have you gotten any news? Siyu ran over and asked. They say that there have been a lot of people who have entered recently, but not a single one has come out since. Sima Yu said, it's almost been a year. People have already gone in so early? Siyu asked. 1 year is not considered to be a long time inside there. Wu Lingyu said, those here should be those left behind. There are many more who have all entered, and there's no way to count that time. Previous chapter. Then when should we head inside? Siyu asked this question with concern. No need to be anxious. Just wait, we'll talk about it again once we see the situation. Sima Yu said. How attractive is this mine to you? Are you guys not worried? Siyu asked. What is there to worry about? No matter how good something is, you have to be alive to obtain it. Sima Yu said, no matter what it is, nothing is more important than life. We just arrived here, and don't know anything about what's happening inside. Instead of entering rashly, we might as well stay here together. You're right. Siyu was not worried at all. Sima Yu waited for a time where nobody would notice and released a lot of scarlet bees onto the desert. If they were able to send news back, they would be able to have an advantage over the others. Then you guys can go ahead, I'll walk around. Siyu left after speaking. Sima Yu saw that Siyu went for a walk on her own and beckoned those who came with her, instructing them, follow your young Mississippi. If anything happens, let me know. Remember to hold her back. Don't let her do anything too dangerous. Yes, young Miss Yu. Those people had seen Sima Yu before and knew that she had quite a bit of authority in the Sea clan. They were not puzzled at her instructions at all. They obeyed her, and a few people followed after Siyu. Lang did not set up camp. When Siyu walked off, he followed her. Yu, I'm going back. Sima Yu hesitated before nodding. At this point, Lang was probably heading back to his clan. He was likely headed towards Tangerine City. Alright then. If you need anything, let us know. Lang was stunned as well. He saw her clean straightforward expression and smiled, saying, alright. If anything happens, I'll definitely update you. Based on his identity, very few people would speak to him in this way. The concern in her eyes was genuine, and she was really worried that something would happen to him. She clearly wasn't that powerful and she obviously knew that there were definitely many experts around him to protect him, but she was still worried about him. This was the concern that she had for her friends. He turned around and left, his mouth hooked into a bitter smile. A friend Sima Yu waited for him to leave before walking around with Wu Lingyu to take a look at the situation around them. Suddenly, they heard the sounds of spirit energy being used in a fight not too far away. Sima Yu turned her head to look and saw a dark spirit skill. She furrowed her eyebrows helplessly. This brat had only gone out for a short while, so how did she already manage to get into a fight? Let's go take a look. She flew over to the place where the battle was taking place with Wu Lingyu. Once she saw who Siyu was battling, Sima Yu couldn't help but purse her lips. How did she end up fighting Li Yao? She saw Fang Qi lying on the ground, guessing they had hurt her first, which was how she ended up fighting Li Yao. Stop. Sima Yu flew over and immediately used her spirit skill to stop Siyu and blocked Li Yao's attack. The guards who were standing behind saw that Sima Yu had come and heaved a sigh of relief. Their young miss wouldn't listen to them, but she would listen to Yu. Li Yao saw Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu who were standing behind her, so he stopped his spirit skill. Are you guys acquainted? She asked with a solemn expression. She's my friend. Sima Yu admitted, not denying their relationship just because Siyu was of a dark spirit attribute. Yu, do you know them? Siyu asked. I do. How did you end up fighting? Sima Yu nodded, you only left our camp a short while ago before ending up fighting someone. Did you just ignore everything I said? Siyu stuck out her tongue, they were the ones who messed with me. What's going on here? I walked past this place when they saw that I was prettier than them, so they were jealous of me, chasing me away and speaking so rudely. I haven't been treated this way before, so I naturally argued with them. Then, they started to fight. Then this person couldn't beat me, so he got back up. Siyu pointed at Fang Qi, who was lying on the ground, her expression extremely haughty. This was all a misunderstanding. Yang Shi came out from inside the tent, Li Yao and the others didn't know that she was your friend. Since everyone is familiar with each other, let's just let this go. These three girls just wouldn't leave her alone. Sima Yu cursed in her heart, then turned around and said to Siyu, since that's the case, let's just drop it. It's a good thing that we encountered young Miss Yang this time and she's amicable. If you mess around next time, I'm not going to bother about you anymore. Siyu pursed her lips, saying, alright. I won't harp on this anymore, alright. Li Yao returned to the place and came in front of Sima Yu and the others, slightly straightening up and saying, Your Highness, Holy Son, Yu. Since all is fine now, you should just go back. Wu Lingyu said to Sima Yu. He very obviously neglected the person in front of them. Alright, young Miss Yang, young Miss Li, young Miss Fang, we'll take our leave. Sima Yu addressed the three of them before pulling Siyu away. Lady Yu, please wait. Yang Shi called out to stop Sima Yu. Seeing her turn back, she revealed a sincere smile, saying, "We will be going to check the desert out in a few days, would you like to go with us? Go inside the desert? We don't even know the circumstances inside. If we go in rashly, won't it be too dangerous? We don't plan to go deep in." Yang Si explained, "We plan to wander around the periphery to understand the desert more. We have already heard that the periphery isn't dangerous. Will walking around the periphery help us to understand the mining area? What help would there be?" Of course there would be no help. However, she couldn't say it like that. We'll understand the desert environment a little more. Once we enter the mine, we'll be a little more familiar with it. She thought that Sima Yu would reject them, but she actually agreed very quickly. "Alright. When are we going?" "Tomorrow." "Alright, I'll come here and look for you tomorrow." "Are we acting tomorrow?" Li Yao asked. I saw City Lord Lang leave earlier. He left her campsite looking extremely downcast. Seeing him suffer because of another woman, it would be too much of a joke if I were to suffer too. Yang Si laughed bitterly before turning around and returning to her tent. "Since you caused him misery, you don't have to live any longer." Sima Yu pulled Siyu forwards and Siyu pulled on her arm, saying, "Are they your friends? Why do I feel like their greeting towards you was a little strange? When did I say that they were my friends?" Sima Yu asked in return. Then why did you agree to go with them? Based on the way they are, I could tell at a glance that they don't have any good intentions. They want to make use of this opportunity to kill me, of course they don't have any good intentions. Siyu's eyes grew large, "Then why did you agree if you know that they want to kill you? When the time comes, we won't know who's the one who will live or die." Sima Yu shrugged her shoulders nonchalantly as she continued to walk forward. Siyu chased after her and suddenly saw the light, saying, "So you're thinking of it too? It's not me, it's them." Sima Yu smirked, "If they don't do anything, I won't either. If they do, then I'm not going to stay as meat on a chopping board. TCH, I think that you're planning on dealing with them." Siyu said confidently, "Just look at your eyes." Sima Yu smiled but she didn't reply. If she wanted to say that they never had a blood feud, it wasn't true because they've been looking at her with murderous intent. Anybody with a temper would dislike others thinking of killing them all the time. Moreover, these people still dared to lust after her man. They were really tired of living. "Then take me with you. I'll protect you," Siyu said. "If you come with me, are you sure you won't just mess around?" "How could that be? Do I look like someone who just messes around?" "Yeah." On the second day, Siyu came along while Wu Lingyu left for the time being as those from the Sage Pavilion came to look for him. Before he left, he said to her, "Just do whatever you want to do. It will be fine." "What have you done?" "Nothing much, actually. Just thinking of letting it go along with you." "It?" Sima Yu was stunned and immediately reacted, asking him what he was talking about. "Can I? What is there that you cannot do? It likes you a lot as well." Wu Lingyu said, "I'm not sure what the inside is like. With it around, I can relax." Alright. Sima Yu didn't reject it either. It was her first time going in, and she would be a little safer if it went with her. Wu Lingyu left and Sima Yu went along with the clingy Siyu to look for Yang Si and the others. They saw them when they were halfway there. "You guys are finally here. We've been waiting for a while," Li Yao said with a smile. "We woke up a little late." "Have you been waiting long?" Sima Yu randomly found an excuse. "Woke up late?" The three of them pursed their lips. Couldn't she find a better excuse? Did spirit masters even wake up late? They had bellies full of fire as they said with smiles, "Not too long." "Is it just the two of you? Will His Highness the Holy Sun be coming with us?" "Oh him? He has some things to do so he went back to the Sage Pavilion," Sima Yu said. They couldn't tell if Li Yao's heart was filled with disappointment or joy. She initially thought that she would be able to see him today, but he had left. The joy came from the fact that they wouldn't have to risk being discovered by him since he wasn't around. "Since we're all here, let's go," Yang Si said. "Aren't you taking some guards with you?" Sima Yu asked as she looked at the three of them. "There's no need. We're just going to the periphery. Nothing will happen. Naturally, we won't need to use our guards." Yang Si glanced at them meaningfully as if she was saying, "See, I already told you that it wouldn't be dangerous. I didn't lie." "Then do they know that we're going into the desert?" Sima Yu asked. "They don't. How could they possibly let many people know about the fact that they were going to kill someone? Especially so for Yin Lang, he couldn't find out." Siyu's eyes spun as she asked, "If something dangerous happens to us, doesn't that mean that nobody will come looking to rescue us?" "Yeah." Yang Si nodded, "But we're going, so what dangers could there be? We definitely wouldn't play around with our lives." "I believe that." Siyu nodded. They were all stronger than Siyu. If something really happened, they would definitely run the fastest. "Let's go, then," Sima Yu urged. These fake, pretentious women. She really didn't feel like being with them. "You're right. If we take any longer, the sky will turn dark. If we enter the desert at that time, we wouldn't be able to make our way in the desert. We initially found out a bit about the situation, so we're pretty familiar with what's happening inside. You guys should follow us." Yang Si flew directly into the desert after speaking, not even using her flying beast. Sima Yu smirked icily. If the distance wasn't far, they wouldn't use much spirit energy. However, if it was a far distance, the amount of spirit energy they used would be quite substantial. They probably felt like she had the least spirit energy since she was the weakest. It was a pity that her spirit reservoir was a lot bigger than others, so she wouldn't bother about this bit of usage at all. They said that it was the periphery of the desert, but they used their spirit energies to fly for almost an entire day. They flew all the way till it was late at night before they finally rested at an oasis. When it was time to set up their tent, Siyu dashed to Sima Yu's side and said, Yu, did you realize that we've just been hovering around the edge of the desert and haven't gone inside the desert at all? The circumstances surrounding the desert are too uncertain right now, so they wouldn't dare. Sima Yu sighed. Then when do they plan to act? They don't have much patience, so I'm guessing that it will happen tonight. Sima Yu said. Then let's be a little more on guard. After they finished setting up their tent, Yang Si and the others came over to tell them how they felt about today. When night came, Siyu suddenly ran in from outside, saying, Yu, those 3 women are gone. Also, we've been surrounded by spirit beasts. Sima Yu sat up from her bed and said, Don't worry. Siyu cried out, do you know how many spirit beasts are outside right now? Aren't there just 1,000 or so of them? It's fine. Siyu saw how calm Sima Yu was and pursed her lips. Was 1,000 of them very little? Realks, those spirit beasts can't come in. Sima Yu said in a calm manner. Are you very confident? Don't believe me? Then follow me. Sima Yu wore her shoes then took her outside the tent. Siyu came out and saw the spirit beasts rushing towards them. However, when they were going to step onto the oasis, a blue ripple radiated from the top of the oasis. Is that a barrier? That's right. How many attacks can the barrier withstand? They won't attack. Sima Yu said. Really? Just watch. Siyu looked at those spirit beasts skeptically, wondering what to do if they attacked. However, she didn't think that the spirit beasts would really do like Sima Yu had said. They only walked around the barrier before leaving. If it was just 1 or 2 that did so, she wouldn't be surprised. However, almost 1,000 of them were like that. She was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth. What's going on? She grabbed onto Sima Yu agitatedly. These spirit beasts came because those people put something in the oasis to attract spirit beasts. They don't dare to come in because there's an aura that fills them with fear. Sima Yu said. A terrifying aura? Is it on the barrier? I remember that your senior brother's barrier was blue. Could he be here too? Didn't Wu Lingyu leave already? Could he have quietly followed them here? Siyu looked left and right, but she couldn't see a shadow of Wu Lingyu. Lingyu didn't come. Sima Yu said, but he did give this to me. He knew long ago that this would happen. He said that this was the only thing they could do in the desert. Based on their level of intelligence, they wouldn't be able to think of a better idea. That's why he gave this to me. Sima Yu explained. Then how did he get the spirit beasts to return on their own? That's his business. I just have to use this item well. Sima Yu didn't plan to tell her that this barrier had the aura of that devil beast. Was that ancient aura something that the average spirit beast would be able to hold up against? Ah. Right. Those 3 are gone. Siyu finally recalled Yang Si and the others, seriously. I clearly had my eye on them, so how could they slip away quietly? I wonder where they went to celebrate. Relax, they won't be able to get far. Sima Yu said. Did you do something to them? Siyu looked expectantly at her. Of course it's something good. Let's go, there will be many spirit beasts coming and going tonight. We don't have to bother about them. Sima Yu turned back and entered her tent again after speaking. Sigh, Yu, come on, tell me. What did you do to them? Siyu chased after her and entered the tent. Sima Yu lay back on the bed and said, nothing much, actually. Didn't they look for us before? That's right, but I didn't see you do anything to them. Siyu tried her best to recall what happened, but she couldn't think of any part that was off. Ever since they came in here, she didn't seem to have done anything out of the ordinary and didn't do anything. What could she have done to them? There's a type of scent that we can't smell for the time being, but after a few hours, it will begin to activate. It will be a faint plum scent. You can try sniffing it out now. Siyu tried her best to smell it, saying, there's really a plum scent. Are you saying that you poisoned the room long ago? It's not really poison. It just causes some spirit beasts to flare up in heat. It'll disperse after a day. Sima Yu said. Siyu pursed her lips, who didn't know that animals would lose all sense of reasoning when they were in heat. As long as it didn't suit them, they would attack a person crazily. However, how could they possibly suit them? That was why this girl had really dug a grave for them to jump into. Is that item of yours powerful? If the spirit beasts aren't powerful, wouldn't it be useless? When I get a job done, do you really have to worry about that? Sima Yu closed her eyes, just go to sleep. You'll see the results tomorrow. Siyu knew that she wouldn't be able to get any answers to her questions, so she returned to her tent and waited till the next day to find out the results. Sima Yu slept well the whole night. When she opened her eyes, the sky was already bright. After taking a shower, she kept the things away. When she came out, she saw Siyu standing by the side of the oasis. She saw the messy footprints outside. Siyu had already kept her things away. When she heard the movement behind her, she turned around and greeted with a smile, morning. How are things? Sima Yu kept her tent away before going over to ask. I don't know how many came, but there were fewer of them in the middle of the night. Siyu said, not many spirit beasts are still coming over. The smell from the oasis has pretty much dispersed. Eat the antidote. Then, we'll go over and see the results. Sima Yu gave her a pill. Siyu ate the pill as Sima Yu called out Blackie and got it to lead the way. It headed towards the direction where Yang Si and the others had gone in. The both of them followed the trail for a few hundreds of meters before they saw the corpses of the 3 girls. No clothes covered their bodies and the scene was one of devastation. Were they tarnished? Siyu pursed her lips. Nope. Sima Yu inspected the 3 corpses, they had already died by then. Spirit beasts aren't interested in dead bodies. But this is still a terrible way to go. When they left the oasis, they definitely didn't think that they would end up this way. Siyu clicked her tongue. They were probably ecstatic. I can only say that you shouldn't intend to harm others as the wheel of fate is always turning. If you're not careful, you will end up harming yourself. That's true. Siyu agreed. In this world, although it was filled with violence, one couldn't randomly try to kill others. For herself, one couldn't wantonly provoke others. That was an essential to living a longer life. Let's go. Are we going to leave their corpses here? Sima Yu didn't touch their bodies, we'll leave them here for a few days. I bet that someone will come to check it out soon. We just have to remove all traces of our presence. Alright. They wiped away all traces of their presences. Adding on to the fact that they already wiped away all evidence of themselves before they left the oasis, even if others saw the corpses of Yang Si and the others, they wouldn't be able to link it to them. Yang Si, Li Yao, Fang Qi, the 3 of them were the talented geniuses of the younger generation in their clans. Once they died, the clans would definitely know. Who killed Yang Er? Yang Si's father, Yang Gaoming, received the news and almost collapsed. Lord, don't be anxious. First, look for father. He left a soul imprint on Yang Er's body. Yang Si's mother reminded him. Right. Look for father. Yang Gaoming hurried and ran to his father's courtyard. Father, Yang Er couldn't possibly have really. My soul imprint has already disappeared. She really died. Yang Wei was infuriated as well. Father, didn't you leave a soul imprint on Yang Er's body? Could it be that even you couldn't protect her? I don't know why they entered the desert without permission. I only saw her with 2 other girls in the boundless desert being surrounded by 100 spirit beasts. The Takagon desert? Since she went there, why didn't the clansmen follow them? This won't do, I have to go and take a look. Yang Si's mother said as she ran out. I'm going too. Let's go together. We can also take a look to see just what the ancient mines are like. At the same time, the Fang and Li clansmen were rushing out to find out just how they had died. Sima Yu and Siyu were none the wiser as to what kind of chaos they had brought to the 3 clans of the girls who had died. After flying for a day and a night, the 2 girls and the dog were in the vast desert, looking blankly around them. We're lost. Siyu looked at Sima Yu. The 2 of them who were still joking and laughing as they came in, now couldn't force out a smile. If they really got lost in this desert, it was a very dangerous situation. Sima Yu looked around her and finally sighed, saying, we clearly came in this direction. However, it's obvious that we really are lost. Then we probably wouldn't be getting close to the ancient mines, right? Siyu asked. Towards this question, Sima Yu temporarily had no answer. It's really strange. We clearly walked towards this direction, so why does it feel like we're getting deeper in? Sima Yu raised her head and looked in the direction of the sun, staying silent for a moment before musing. I think that I've figured out the reason. What? After setting up camp at that oasis, once night came, the direction slowly changed. Sima Yu said, when we left, we entered from this direction so we naturally thought that this was the exit. We headed in a straight line, but ended up feeling like we were going in deeper. This is the most likely explanation. If not, it means that the space here constantly changes, just like the folding space they had encountered back in the Wonderlands. Apart from these 2 reasons, she couldn't think of anything else. Should we head backwards? Going back doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way either. Sima Yu said, we have already walked for a day and a night, so the direction might be different again. Let's not panic for now, let me do some tests. What tests? You'll know when you see it. I'll look for an oasis for now. If we use this, we can be assured that the direction won't keep changing. Alright, we'll get the results once tomorrow comes. Let's head back and rest. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yu heard Siyu call out from inside the tent. Yu, it really moves. Sima Yu walked out and saw that the dart that was facing the flags had already turned to a specific direction. The dart was in the middle of it and another little flag. Sima Yu walked forwards and kept the flags away. She raised her hand and the dart landed in her palm. It seems like my guess was right. This was the result of only a night's work. When morning came, it would definitely continue to move. Her expression was rather solemn as she looked at the vast desert beyond the oasis. It was no wonder that many people entered and never got out again. That was because the direction they headed in was not necessarily the right one. We can't sense its changes because we are inside this place. Siyu said, so that means we can't get out either. No. If it were anyone else, they might never be able to get out. However, we don't have to worry about this problem. After Sima Yu finished speaking, she called for a few thousand scarlet bees and got them to fly out in various directions. There would definitely be scarlet bees who would be able to find it. Siyu saw the countless scarlet bees and rubbed her neck. Her goosebumps were definitely forming. You're really awesome. With them, we just have to wait here. Sima Yu said, they probably need a bit of time. We just have to wait here for more news. This isn't too bad, but it's a pity that it's too hot. It really makes you uncomfortable. Siyu went back to her tent to change into a set of cooler clothing. When she came out, she saw Sima Yu cooking again. After a moment, a bowl of delicious, ice-cold fruit salad was placed in front of her. Half of it was filled with ice. Whoa. I was just talking about how I lost my appetite from the heat, but you actually made this. Siyu happily carried the bowl and ate it up. You're a dark attributed spirit master, so the dark spirit energy in you is colder. That's why you feel uncomfortable inside this hot desert. Sima Yu said, although this won't get to the root of the problem, it should still be good enough to help temporarily. This is delicious. Thank you, Yu. Siyu looked at her gratefully. She was the one who had trapped Sima Yu back in Ghost City, but Sima Yu was the one who was taking care of her now. This friend was really one that she had made well. They stayed in the oasis for 4 days before the Scarlet Bees finally sent word back. This time, Sima Yu didn't use much spirit energy. Instead, she got Halcyon and Little Rock to get them back. When night came, they flew out of the desert without rest. When they arrived in the camp, Siyu's guards were the first to run over. Young miss, where did you go? Your subordinates have been very worried. I just went for a spin with Yu. What were you guys worried about? Siyu waved her hands at them, a little upset that they were so worried about her. They were worried about you. Si Hui and Ce came out from inside the tent. Second brother, third brother? What are you guys doing here? Siyu looked at them, smiling as she stepped forwards to hold onto their arms. Did you guys want to come out and take a look at the human realm too? When they couldn't locate you, they notified father. Father got us to come over to take a look at you. Si Hui said, you've only come out for a short while, but what a ruckus you've caused. You guys also came too quickly. Siyu stuck out her tongue. Sima Yu was a little shocked to see them as well. It seemed like Ghost City really had their special ways to cross over. Second brother, third brother. She bowed towards them. We were initially pretty worried about Lil, sis, but when we arrived, we heard that you had gone with her, so we waited here for your return. Ce said, meaning that he had a lot of faith in her. What do you mean? It's clear that I'm stronger than you, alright? How could you speak of me as if I'm just like that? Siyu pursed her lips, acting like a child as she protested against Ce. Your personality is worrying from the start. Ce hooked her nose. Although Sima Yu was not that powerful, she had a very steady and careful temperament. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to cause such a huge commotion back in Ghost City. Also, while Siyu was more powerful than Yu, her personality was unbridled and impatient. It really caused one to worry. Wu Lingyu also came out from inside the tent. Sima Yu looked at him and she walked away smiling. How did you come back so quickly? When I heard that you had gone missing, I rushed back. Wu Lingyu said, did something happen? We discovered a few secrets of the desert. Let's talk inside. Perhaps it was because Sima Yu's expression was grave, but Si Hui and the others turned solemn as well. Could it be that something untoward had really happened these few days? They entered the tent and Sima Yu recounted what happened back in the desert. When everyone heard it, they furrowed their eyebrows. The oasis would actually change directions? Then was it only the oasis that would do it, or was the entire desert like that? Those people who went in to find a path must have been unable to exit the area because of this. Si Hui said, it's a good thing that you were still around this time. Otherwise, little sister would have not been able to exit. Third brother, you're too kind. If it were not because of me, we would not have had to enter that dangerous place. However, we did manage to find out a bit more about the desert because of it, so we can be considered to have gained. Sima Yu said with a smile, right now, what we should first figure out is the problem of the directions. If we can't figure out this problem, it will be too dangerous to enter. Previous chapter. For the next few days, Sima Yu and the others remained in the camp without entering the desert. What happened the last time still left them with some lingering fears. On this day, Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu took a slow walk around the outside. They left their camp and went to the hillside nearby. On the hill, they saw the sunset on the desert, its color beautiful. You went over to the Sage Pavilion the last time, will there be any issue if you don't return now? The commanding officer over there right now is the one and only Vice Pavilion Master, Miao Ho Xian. We've never really gotten along. He's extremely unhappy about me leaving the space position of Holy Sun empty, so there's no need for me to go and show my face over there. Wu Lingyu hugged her waist and pulled her to sit. The afterglow of the evening sun landed on their bodies, bringing in a warm serenity. Sima Yu was at ease as she lay in his embrace. She watched the yellow sun reddening under the sunset. Looking at it this way, the sand really is beautiful. However, nobody dares to go closer. She sighed. The last time, if it were not because she had many scarlet bees, she would definitely have died trapped in there. In a place like this, it really wasn't easy to find the ancient mines. The view was picturesque, but it was filled with death. We will be fine as long as we can figure out the pattern. Wu Lingyu said, how could it be that easy? The desert is so big, just one simple action could result in a huge impact. It wasn't like Sima Yu didn't think of this idea, but she gave up. It was just too massive of a project, and it might take her a few tens of years without any conclusive results. That's true. Wu Lingyu said, do you believe in me? Sima Yu raised her head and looked at him. Why did he suddenly ask her this question? If I brought you in, would you trust me? Wu Lingyu asked, when we reach the desert, your scarlet bees may not necessarily find the way out, and all of them may even die before we even reach the fringes. Under those circumstances, would you still go in with me? He lowered his head, and they looked into each other's eyes. Sima Yu smiled, what is there that I dare not to do? At the very least, we'll be stuck inside there. With the spirit pagoda, we won't even have to worry about dehydration. As long as we don't lack water, we'll definitely be able to get out. Anyway, with you around, all places are the same. Like how one should follow a chicken if they marry a chicken. Wu Lingyu smirked, leaving a light kiss on the edge of her lips. Are you a chicken? It's just an analogy, don't take it so literally. This isn't an analogy, I should take the literal meaning of each word. Don't mess around. I didn't. When they returned to the campsite, they realized that the atmosphere was a little weird. Their tent had been surrounded from 3 sides. They glanced at each other before running down in a hurry. I've already said this, the disappearance of your daughter has nothing to do with our Yu. Don't just toss any random blame to us. Siyu's infuriated voice was heard. If it doesn't have anything to do with her, then that means it has something to do with you. We heard that the day before they disappeared, you even fought with them. You must have definitely sought revenge and killed them. A woman accused them angrily. TCH, kill them? If it wasn't for Yu, I would really have killed them that day. It's a pity that Yu came and stopped us from fighting. Siyu huffed. So it was you. The woman cried out, wanting to attack Siyu, but Si Hui, who was standing by her side, caught her arm. I don't give a damn who you guys are. If you touch a single hair on my sister, I will exterminate you all. After saying this, he shook off her arm and tossed her to the side. Yang Xi's mother, Wei Shuiji, trembled under their gaze. The look in their eyes was terrifying. Humph, old lady, I was courteous to you just now because Yang Xi and Yu were acquaintances and you are Yang Xi's mother. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you've brought a lot of people with you. Siyu called out, the news that Yang Xi and the others have disappeared has traveled around the campsite these few days. They definitely ran into the desert themselves. They want to look for deaths on their own, so why are you running over here to bite me like a mad dog? Do you think that everyone is afraid of you just because you're from the 16th state? Humph, there are some people that you can offend, and some that you cannot. Sima Yu was listening to it from the outside and she smirked. It was no wonder she was from Ghost City. Her words were so domineering. It was hard to imagine that she was still worried that Si Hui and the others would get mad if Siyu provoked anyone outside. She was now not worried at all. The fact that they were able to arrive so quickly meant that others from Ghost City would be able to as well. Even if Siyu caused a mountain of trouble, they would rush over to help back her up. What's going on here? Just as Wei Shuizhu, who was inside, was thinking of attacking, they heard a light voice coming in from the outside. The guards on the outside stepped aside as Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu walked in. Yu, you're back. Siyu waved at her. What's going on here? Who is this? Sima Yu walked over and asked again. Again. Oh, it's Yang Xi's mother. She can't find her daughter, so she ran over demanding for us. Siyu said, she's causing a ruckus over nothing. Everyone knows that they ran over to the desert and died inside. Why would she run over here and ask for them here? Looking for Yang Xi? Sima Yu's face flashed with confusion, she wasn't with us. Why would they look for them here? Stop pretending. Someone said that you guys disappeared at the same time that they did. If you guys didn't leave together, then what happened? I think you got it wrong. Siyu and I went for a walk nearby. She didn't want her guards to follow along, so we left quietly. However, we returned after a few days. Sima Yu said, like Siyu said, everyone knows that they went into the desert. If we went into the desert, do you think we'd be able to come out? Up till now, not a single person who has gone in has managed to come out. Humph. Nobody believes your lies. Wei Shuizhu snorted icily. Don't act shamelessly when we've already treated you with respect. If you continue to kick up a fuss here, don't blame us for being discourteous. Siyu cried out. Discourteous? How will you be discourteous? A group of dark-spirited spirit masters dare to act so presumptuously on the main continent. Wei Shuizhu had just finished speaking when she was surrounded by an icy cold aura. Her entire person felt like she was surrounded by ice. Her internal organs felt as if they had been shifted as an ache arose. Then, she was sent flying and landed heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of old blood. My people from Ghost City are not for you to judge. Ce was more straightforward than Si Hui. The strength of this aggressive strike was one that Wei Shuizhu was completely unable to defend against. Sima Yu looked at Ce with bulging eyes. She didn't even manage to clearly see how he had acted before the person ended up heavily wounded. Siyu saw her surprised look and said with a smile, second brother is the strongest one here. He has the bloodline from that side. Sima Yu was stunned. That side? The Ghost Clan? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter comments. Tip. Instead of falling into contemplation, Wei Shuizhu seemed to be more in shock. Ghost City? Was that not just a legendary place? Although it was just a legendary place, those of her level knew that they definitely couldn't afford to offend one if they met them. Madam. The guards rushed to surround her, wanting to take action against Ce. Stop. Wei Shuizhu hurriedly cried out to stop them. They were from Ghost City, how dared they provoke them? Madam? The guards turned around with shock. This didn't seem like their madam's usual way of doing things, though. She had been injured, but she actually swallowed her anger. This was too inconceivable. Wei Shuizhu crawled up from the ground and looked at them with fear. When she saw that they did not plan to continue attacking them, she ordered those around her, let's go. Although her guards were shocked, they obeyed her orders and left with her. It seems like these people know about Ghost City. Sima Yu said confidently. Others may or may not know, we have no way to confirm that. However, that lady definitely knows. Wu Lingyu said, based on their identity, they will know of things that others do not. That's true. But second brother, if you guys do this, wouldn't you expose Ghost City? Sima Yu said. If it is exposed, then so be it. It's not like Ghost City is a place that has to be hidden. CE didn't care for it, we just never cared to maintain contact with the outside world. It doesn't mean that we're afraid of it. It's not like just anyone can enter that place. People like you are few and far in between. It's not like everyone has someone trapped inside Ghost City, alright. Sima Yu said with a smile, right now, Yang Xi's issue can be considered to be settled. We can have peace for the time being. Siyu beamed, next up, we can decide how to deal with this problem. For the following days, the Yang clan really did not come over. The Fang and Li clan didn't even appear at all. After Wu Lingyu mentioned it once, he never again spoke about going in. He would occasionally disappear. Yu. Siyu ran in from the outside. When she saw Sima Yu reading, she beamed as she ran over. She sat beside her, picked up the tea on the table and drank a mouthful. What's wrong? You ran over so urgently. Sima Yu raised her head and looked at her. They found the dead bodies of Yang Xi and the others. Siyu spoke after she finished drinking the tea. They found it? Sima Yu was a little surprised. They were actually about to find them. It seemed like the Yang clan was quite competent. It said that only their bones were left. Siyu said. Then did they say anything? Sima Yu asked. What else could they say? The final result was that Yang Xi and the others really did run in there on their own, encountered spirit beasts and were killed because they were not powerful enough. It has absolutely nothing to do with us. Siyu smiled extremely happily, let me tell you something. The funniest joke is that their bones were all scattered around. You couldn't even tell whose bones belonged to whom. So much time has already passed. The fact that they were able to find their remains is already amazing. Sima Yu smiled lightly. How did they manage to enter without getting lost? Siyu was a little puzzled about that point. When we went in, most of our time was spent walking around the periphery in the beginning. That's why we didn't end up too deep in. Later on, we got lost because we ended up walking in the wrong direction. As for them, they only wanted to look for the dead bodies of Yang Xi and the others, so they didn't stay in there for long. If they immediately left in the direction they came from, they wouldn't get lost. Sima Yu explained. So you just have to know the direction in order not to get lost. Siyu said, if we went inside, as long as we knew the direction, we might not get lost. It's a pity that all the guiding spirit tools have no effect in there. Sima Yu and the others had tried it before. They took out those compasses, but the needles would spin non-stop. They were completely unable to point the way. There will be a way to deal with it. Sima Yu said. I believe that there's a way too. I'm going to go and try again. I'll let you know the moment there's any news. Alright. Go ahead. Ever since news that Siyu and the others came from Ghost City was spread out, the various powers instructed their men not to provoke them. No matter where Siyu was now, they had no need to worry that some blind person would mess with her. That was why she had no need to worry about her safety right now. Siyu went out again and Sima Yu lowered her head, wanting to continue reading. However, she couldn't calm down. In this world where the weak were preyed upon, if one was not strong enough, they would definitely be bullied. That day when Wei Shuozhu had gone over, she just wanted to find some people to vent her anger out on. Although everyone knew that they didn't appear to have anything to do with the situation, they thought that they were weak. That was why they were used as scapegoats. That day, if CE and the others did not block them, even if she wanted to deal with the situation, it would have been thorny. That was why she had to become stronger. Thinking to this point, she felt a sense of urgency towards the ancient mines. If she was able to obtain something, she would be able to become stronger. However, she first had to think of a way. One day later, Wu Lingyu returned. He silently led Sima Yu out the tent. What's going on? Sima Yu saw how secretive he was and asked. We're going in. Wu Lingyu said. To the desert? Sima Yu was a little surprised. Ever since the last time he mentioned it, he didn't talk about it again in the past half a month. Why was he suddenly talking about leading her in? Aren't we telling them? The situation there is unstable. I have confidence to bring you, but if there are too many people and I am suddenly unable to take care of them, you'll be sad if they die. Wu Lingyu said. I'll leave a note for them. By the time Siyu found out, Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu had already arrived inside the desert. Even if they followed them now, they wouldn't be able to catch up to them. This girl, she even dares to tell me that I definitely can't go in. Once I meet her, I'll definitely skin her. Siyu roared. On the other hand, Ce and Si Hui felt that it was pretty good that Sima had done this. No matter what the ancient minds had, it had nothing to do with them as dark spirit masters. Things that were not of the dark spirit attribute were completely useless to them. That was why they didn't mind not going into the desert. It was too dangerous and meaningless, so it was best for them to stay out of it. Initially, Siyu wanted to go in so they could only accompany her. Now that she couldn't go, they could heave a sigh of relief. Don't be angry. Didn't she leave you a temporary life, Jade? As long as it doesn't shatter, it proves that she's safe. Don't worry. See, Hui said. Who said that I'm worried? Humph, I'm just upset that she left me alone to go and have fun. Siyu cried out, this brat, she better not let me see her. Achoo dash. Sima Yu rubbed her nose, that girl must be cursing me, complaining about how I didn't take her along to play. Hey, you did this on purpose, didn't you? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter comments. Tip. On purpose? What did I do on purpose? Wu Lingyu knowingly dodged the question. Based on your abilities, it's impossible that you wouldn't be able to protect them. You just didn't want them to come with us, right? Sima Yu only managed to react now. Hee hee. Wu Lingyu chuckled lightly. He didn't deny it. He just didn't like that Siyu was stuck to her all day, every day. It caused him to be unable to be alone with her most of the time. Adding on to that the fact that she would be useless even if she came, he might as well leave her waiting outside. Thinking about how he was going to have so much time alone with her, his heart leapt with joy. He recalled the days where his soul had not fully fused and his soul was able to be with her all day, feeling what she felt, being able to watch her whenever he wanted. However, when they fused, the time he had with her was much less. Right now, there were no people interfering here and there, so they could spend a nice time together. It turns out that his joyful heart lasted less than a day before it was shattered. They just happened to be setting up their tents when, because of the stares of a certain person, she was only able to set up one tent. At the same time, she muttered in her heart, acting cute so shamefully. Where was her ice-cold demon king? She prepared a bowl of ice-cold fruit salad, preparing a portion of it for herself at the same time. At this time, a group of flying beasts flew over and Sima Yu looked up to see the people who were riding them. What is he doing here? Wu Lingyu's tone was extremely upset. He must be rushing over to the ancient mines as well. Sima Yu was confident. I'm saying that there are so many oases here. Why is he not over there but he just has to come to this one? Wu Lingyu's expression soured as he looked towards one side. When the one on the wheelchair saw Sima Yu, he was also very surprised. He smiled lightly and said, what a coincidence, I didn't think that I'd be able to meet you here. It really is so coincidental. Sima Yu smiled as she nodded at him. Young master, we'll go ahead to set up the tents. A guard standing behind Xian Qiu he said. Go ahead. Xian Qiu he nodded at them, then turned to Sima Yu said, have you guys been here long? We arrived in the evening. Sima Yu said. It hasn't even been 20 years since we last met in the Wonderlands. I didn't think that you would be able to become so strong since then. Xian Qiu he was shocked when he realized how strong she was. Sima Yu was shocked. With the spirit pagoda as her cover, the average person was unable to tell how strong she was, but Xian Qiu he was able to tell at a glance. Was he too strong or was there another reason? There's no need to worry, I bear no ill intent. Xian Qiu he smiled, and his smile was as warm as it used to be that year. Sima Yu nodded, accepting his kind intentions, saying, congratulations. You have managed to get rid of your inheritance. How did you know? Compared to the last time we met, the aura was even more faint. If it were not because you painstakingly released your own aura, I think that they would really think that you became a deity. It probably only appears like this because you have managed to get rid of your inheritance, I think. Sima Yu replied. Hee, you're as smart as ever. Xian Qiu he said. Yu, we're almost done eating, we should go in. Wu Lingyu didn't like that she smiled at Xian Qiu he, so he pulled her hand, wanting to go into the tent. This is? Xian Qiu he could sense the two of them holding hands and his voice carried a trace of killing intent. He is. I am her future husband. Wu Lingyu said. Is that so? Xian Qiu he appeared to be smiling, but his smile had gotten a little colder. He is. Sima Yu sighed, he is called Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu. So it turns out to be the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. My delay in greetings. Not at all. Wu Lingyu's reply was apathetic. Although Xian Qiu he couldn't see, he definitely knew that they were pretending not to know each other and speaking these courteous words, intentionally to end the awkward situation. Yu, didn't you say that you were tired? Why don't we go and rest? Wu Lingyu pulled on Sima Yu's arm. Alright. How could Sima Yu not know what he was thinking as she said her goodbyes to Xian Qiu he before heading inside with Wu Lingyu. Although Xian Qiu he couldn't see, his divine senses were completely capable of acting as his eyes, interpreting the situation and translating it in his brain. He watched the two of them enter the tent and saw her holding onto her arm and saw her tender look. Young master, the tents are ready. The sky is getting dark, we should return to rest. The guard came to his side and supported him back to his tent. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yu and the others kept their tent away. Xian Qiu he pushed his wheelchair over and said, the desert is puzzling and dangerous. Since we've met each other, why don't we go together? This wouldn't be good, would it? Sima Yu rejected him. What isn't good about it? Since everyone wants to head to the ancient mines, we should have the same goal. Since that's the case, we can go together and we'll even be able to help each other out. Xian Qiu he said. If something really happens, I'm afraid that will drag you down. Sima Yu smiled. The deeper we go in, the more dangerous it will be. Xianqiu, he said, the Xianqiu clan's ancestor has done some research on the desert, so we have a good grasp on the situation inside. What he meant was that he knew where the ancient mines were. Sima Yu looked at Xianqiu he strangely. She didn't think that the Xianqiu clan would already have done research here. Did they actually already know long ago that there was treasure here? You don't have to be so surprised. Apart from our Xianqiu clan, another clan has also done research on this place. Xianqiu, he said, like some other secret clans. Why? Why? Sima Yu was curious. This place was initially so unwelcoming of people, so how did those secret clans manage to begin researching this place so early on? Earlier on, we didn't know the reason why either. What we knew was passed down from our ancestors. We know now. The research of the past was probably for us to make preparations today. Sima Yu understood. These secret clans had definitely obtained these pieces of news, which was why they spent a lot of time and energy to research the desert. It was probably by warning them directly, saying that there were ancient mines here, or it could be that ancestors passed down words saying that there was treasure in here. We know which areas have powerful beasts, and managed to extrapolate the most likely place the ancient mines will be. So, are you willing to come with us? Xianqiu, he invited her again. Sima Yu hesitated. With them around, she and Wu Lingyu would be able to save a lot of time. The most important thing was that he knew the general location of the mines, while they didn't. Why do you want to take us with you? She was still uncertain. Uncertain. Most people would hope that fewer people would enter, right? We are friends. Since we have met here, why would I need a special reason to invite you to join us? Xianqiu, he smiled. Then we'll have to trouble you. This meant that she had agreed to join them. A few days before they left, Sima Yu believed in what Xianqiu he had told her, that their clan had done their research about the desert. That was because they had walked for such a long time and they only met very few spirit beasts. Furthermore, it wasn't even the very powerful kinds. When evening came, they found an oasis and only then managed to rest. In the desert, if they didn't reach an oasis, they wouldn't stop to rest. That was because, if they rested in the yellow sand, they didn't know when they would be swallowed by the yellow sand. The oasis held traces of previous people setting up tents. It seems like others were here before us. Xianqiu, he pushed his wheelchair over to where there were traces of people who had made camp. With a wave of his hand, a used tent peg flew over and landed in his hand. He sniffed it and said, "It's the Eastern Lai clan. They actually arrived here before we did." Someone who appeared to be a middle-aged male who went along with Xianqiu, he said with puzzlement. That's not too strange. Xianqiu, he tossed the tent peg away, then took out a silk handkerchief and wiped his hands. The Eastern Lai clan has always been observant about these things. Once they knew about it, they definitely actively came over. I just wonder if she's here already as well. Young Miss Eastern Lai Li? If she's here, then this situation has become more troublesome. Xianqiu, he said. Is young Miss Eastern Lai Li very powerful? She has some circumstances that are blessed by heaven. Xianqiu, he said. In that case, should we hurry up and rush ahead of them? There's no need. Yes, young master. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu walked over. Xianqiu, is the Eastern Lai clan one of the secret clans? Yes. It can be said to be a family friend of my clan. You mentioned that Eastern Lai Li has some circumstances which are blessed by heaven. What are you referring to? A natural seeker spirit master. Have you ever met one before? A natural seeker spirit master? Sima Yu was rather shocked. This was the first time she had heard of it. Yes, when she was 5 years old, she could sense the minds. As she got older, her spirit got even more sensitive towards them. Later on, as she studied more, her success increased by 90%. Sima Yu was shocked. A 90% chance of success. If she herself was not able to search for spirit roots, she probably would have fainted just by hearing the number. A person like this was truly worthy of being Xianqiu's opponent. If they enter the mine, with her around, it would be the same as them just picking up a stone from the ground. Xianqiu, he said. Then why aren't you worried? Xianqiu, he smiled. What is there to worry about? It's not easy to enter either. In any case, the truly valuable items have their fated owner. This is ordained by heaven. Ordained by heaven? Sima Yu was stunned. She didn't think that he would actually think this way. Compared to being ordained by heaven, she believed instead that one's destiny was forged by oneself. It seemed like Xianqiu knew what she was thinking and said, do you feel like everything you possess is obtained by your own hands? Was it? Sima Yu also knew that the answer was no. If she got it on her own power, how was it possible that she had so many fortuitous encounters? She had heard Yinling and the others mention that things like face were very mysterious. She wondered if her luck was the best or if it was just rather good. Correspondingly, she would assume some responsibilities that others didn't have. As for Fair Eastern City, she had stopped the Ghost Clan's efforts and prevented a calamity from befalling humans, and she had earned the hatred of many powers of the Ghost Clans, which would bring her a lot of trouble in the future when she went to the Ghost Clan. This was the outcome of her needing to undertake those responsibilities. When she was finished thinking this through, she smiled, so you're saying that I might be able to get a cut of the profits as well. Whether it's a cut of the profits of the whole pie, nobody knows for sure until the end. Sima Yu looked at him. She felt like he had an underlying meaning behind his words, but he no longer spoke again. When she returned to her tent, she continued to think about this. Wu Lingyu held onto her shoulder and said, don't you have a saying here that says, if it's fated, then it will be yours. If it's not fated, you can never force it. Right now, there's no point thinking too much about it. I'm not thinking about what I can obtain. I just have a feeling that Xianqiu's words were a little strange. He seemed to be hinting something. He is a strange person, so he speaks strangely. What is there to wonder about? Wu Lingyu was upset that she was still thinking about him. Which part about him is strange? Sima Yu glared at him. This jealous brat. The moment she looked at a guy more than twice, he would think that the other party was a bad guy. I'm not being biased against him. His aura is truly strange. Is that so? Why can't I tell, then? Sima Yu didn't believe him. Because you're not strong enough. Sima Yu ignored him. This guy, ever since they met at the Spirit Pagoda on the first day, he said she was too weak. How were they supposed to chat happily? Wu Lingyu didn't continue talking.
He said that Xianqiu was strange, not because he didn't like him, but because he really felt off.
He could clearly see that he, as a holy son, was pretending to be even holier than the usual, but he could sense a thread of evil. This made him feel a little awkward. However, he really meant what he said. Those who were weak couldn't tell at all.
Are you going to ask him about the divine medicine? Sima Yu hesitated.
Before. If Fire Rebirth wasn't in the Xianqiu clan, then the Xianqiu clansmen would at least know where it was. To ask or not to ask? Let's talk about it again once the situation is done. She contemplated for a bit. It's not the best time to ask about it now.
What are you thinking? If Fire Rebirth is really in the
Xianqiu clan, I will cure his legs in exchange for it. If it is not with him, I will have to think of another idea. Are you confident? I have examined him before. Although I knew the cause, I was not strong enough and was unable to treat him. I have half a chance at success. That's not enough. The Xianqiu clan will not use his life as a joke. Wu Lingyu understood the Xianqiu clan very well. Sima Yu understood. If she was able to cure Xianqiu, they would definitely be glad. However, if she was unable to cure him, she would become the criminal of the clan. No, the truth was that, she should say that if she was not confident, they would definitely not let her try. That was because if a talent like Xianqiu was broken, who was going to compensate them with another Xianqiu? That was why they would definitely not take that risk. A 50% chance of success was not enough. She had to become stronger. Before that, she had to first understand his current situation. As such, this night, she ran over to knock on his tent door. On the morning of the second day, the Xianqiu clansmen had weird looks in their eyes when they saw Sima Yu come out from Xianqiu's tent. Their young master couldn't move easily. What if she did this and that to him? Later on, when they saw Xianqiu with his personal guard, everyone finally lost the weird looks. Even if she wanted to do something, the guard wouldn't let it happen. Young master? Everyone looked at him worriedly. Prepare to head out. Xianqiu didn't plan to tell them much about what happened last night as he gave out these instructions. Understood. Xianqiu, the eldest elder in the Xianqiu clan, was in charge of the operations this time. He was in charge of Xianqiu's safety as long as anything that happened on the way. He listened to the instruction of Xianqiu alone. You guys keep the tents away. Xianqiu instructed his guards. Elder Ji, young master, he. Look at you guys mumbling and muttering. Are the issues of the young master something you guys can ask about? Hurry up and keep the things away. Elder Ji, aren't you curious? Curious about what? Xianqiu glared at him. If you don't move along, I will toss you all into the desert. Those people were so worried that they hurried to keep the tents away. When Sima Yu heard the activity on that side, she pursed her lips. The guards of the Xianqiu clan had made too big of a jump in their thinking, right? Force their young master. Their reluctance aside, Wu Lingyu would be the first to hack him into two. She merely borrowed the excuse saying that she had examined his body before and that she had thought of curing him earlier, and now wanted to see how he was. Xianqiu let him examine him, and the guard beside him immediately asked her for the results of her examination. I still have to go back and do more research. Sima Yu didn't give a clear explanation and dodged the question. If she said that she was confident in being able to cure him but was unable to do so, wouldn't that give them false hope? Xianqiu continued to smile faintly. No hurry. Sima Yu saw his calm and unhurried manner, but knew that he was probably rather disappointed. Because he had no hope, he did not bother about the result. Seeing his eyes that were without sight, she decided in her heart that she would definitely cure him. Wu Lingyu naturally noticed what was going on, but he didn't say anything this time. He was still able to determine what was true and what wasn't. The guards packed the tents away very quickly and they called out their spirit beasts so that they could continue their journey forward. No matter how long they flew, they definitely had to find an oasis before they could rest. Sima Yu did a rough calculation and they had already stayed in the desert for around half a year. The Xianqiu clan had already calculated it well, and so they never ran out of water. She guessed that they probably had a little realm or something like that, which was why they were able to provide a constant supply of water. Finally, when she was about to wonder if they had actually gotten lost, they came to a huge oasis. Sima Yu saw the boundless oasis from far away and saw that there were actually many humongous trees. For a moment, she felt like they had already left the desert and had entered a forest. Xianqiu said that this was indeed an oasis, it was just that it was way too big and had exceeded what we could recognize. This journey is truly oddly smooth. If they weren't around, we would really have to be a lot more careful coming here. Wu Lingyu said, we saved a lot of time and effort this way. Sima Yu looked at the guy. He would definitely have been able to bring her here on his own. It was just that they would have encountered much more trouble. Young master, there are traces of people who have walked up ahead. The guard who was leading the way to finding the path ran back and said, go over and take a look. Young master, is it the Eastern Lai clan? Xian Qiu he sniffed the items left behind and shook his head, no. It's the Northern Du clan. The Northern Du clan has arrived as well? I heard that it's Northern Du Hao who has led a troop this time. I'm guessing that it won't be slow. Is the Northern Du clan also a secret clan? Yes. Furthermore, the Northern Du clan is a little stronger than the Xian Qiu clan. Xian Qiu he replied. Then is Northern Du Hao of the same generation as you? Yes, he's not much older than me, but he is a lot more powerful. Xian Qiu he said, he's like Northern Lai Li. He's an enemy. It seems that the troop leaders this time are all from the same generation as you are. Sima Yu didn't know how many secret clans she would encounter. However, she believed that not a single one would fall behind. Although Xian Qiu he said that they were very powerful, he showed no trace of worry on his face. It seemed like he had a lot of confidence in himself. Just based on the fact that he could guess who passed by smelling. Nobody else was able to do that, right? At the very least, she couldn't. Yu, from this point onwards, we might encounter a lot of danger, you better not leave his side. Xian Qiu he reminded her. Sima Yu nodded. To be able to reach her peacefully was already very difficult. Now that they had reached this point, there would definitely be a lot more danger. Wu Lingyu held onto her hand. They continued forwards and others had walked ahead before, so they had no need to cut a path forwards. When they reached a small path covered in vines, she suddenly stopped walking. What's going on? There's danger here. Sima Yu said. What dangers are here? The Xian Qiu he clansman sniffed and said, there isn't the scent of blood. Not long ago, then Northern Du clansmen had walked past this area. There was no smell of blood, proving that they did not come under attack here. There were also no traces of a battle around them. No, there is the smell of blood. It's just been masked by the smell of the vegetation. Sima Yu sighed, these vines, they should be living. Everyone. She hadn't finished speaking then many vines suddenly appeared around them, attacking everyone. The vines were thick and hard. The blades that Sima Yu could condense were actually unable to cut through any of them. These are all old devils. Wu Lingyu held her with one hand and continued to throw out spirit energy with the other. They were like knives, chopping all the surrounding vines. Under his protection, Sima Yu didn't seem to need to do anything. Alright, actually, nothing she did was of any use. Perhaps only calling out little birdie would be useful. She looked around her. The vines here were not as thick and strong as the ones in front. However, they could only attack a specific distance. They were unable to reach this point. Were they restricted to areas? She couldn't help but yell out. If they walked deeper, they would definitely encounter even more powerful vines. However, on the vines of these guys, she saw an arm that they had yet to digest. It was a good thing that they hadn't gone in yet. Previous chapter. Xian Qiu he remained within the protection of his guards and did not act at all. Sima Yu didn't feel like he had the same reason as her for not participating. He probably didn't deign to lower himself to fight with them. A truly powerful person would not act so early. With those guards around, the danger would be settled. However, the plant spirit beasts were a lot harder to deal with than animal type. That was because, as long as you didn't kill them at their roots, they would multiply. The vines were thicker than the width of one's arm. After they were cut off, the juice was not green but red. You, let me out. Floey cried out excitedly from inside the spirit pagoda. Floey, it's too dangerous out here. You're not their opponent. Sima Yu knew how powerful Floey was. Although it was more powerful than she was, it was still quite a lot weaker than these. I'm not coming out to fight, they're useful to me. Floey explained, her voice anxious. When Sima Yu heard what she said, she could only call her out. As for Little Seven and the others who were clamoring to come out, they could only wait inside obediently. When Floey appeared and saw the pieces of broken vines, she was beyond herself with excitement as she opened her flowers and ate them up. When the vines saw her, they were stunned for a moment as it was like their bloodlines were being suppressed. Later on, they were a lot slower. The guards of the Xian Qiu clan could naturally sense this as they could act even quicker. Very quickly, they cut down even more vines. Don't ruin them. Give them to me. Floey watched as they burned those vines and hurriedly stretched out more flowers to snatch them over and ate them. When the guards saw this, they didn't say much. They turned around to face the enemy. Sima Yu was safely inside the protective sphere that Wu Lingyu had constructed for her. When she saw Floey running around outside eating vines, she couldn't help but stretch a hand out to rub her eyebrows. However, the benefit was that no matter where she was, the vines would slow down considerably much. They would also have weaker attacks. That was why the guards still welcomed her and finally, even directly tossed those vines that they had chopped off over to her open flowers. After half an hour had passed, they had chopped off the roots of all the vines inside here and they were all in Floey's belly. Those that were further away saw them, or rather, they saw Floey and dared not move again. Floey turned back into a human form when she was beside Sima Yu and stretched forth a hand to rub her belly. In an ungraceful manner, she burped and said, so full. Young master, this place has already been cleaned without debris. Xian Qiu said, should we retreat or continue forward? Continue forwards. I'm guessing that the area ahead will not attack us so easily. Xianqiu, he said. Yes. They continued to journey deeper. If any vines attacked, they would attack immediately. Those vines tried moving, but finally gave up attacking. They let them pass through peacefully. Sima Yu walked into the center. Floey was beside them and looked at those vines. As she looked at them, she drooled with desire. When they walked to the back of the road, they finally realized the traces of battle. Furthermore, it had been carefully concealed. If you didn't look carefully, it would be difficult to notice. It seems like the Northern Du clan has attacked their way through this place. However, they ended up worse off as compared to us. Xianqiu, he said. The Xianqiu clan entered battle at the entrance. Adding on to that, the pressure that Floey exerted on them, the vines at the back dared not attack. The Northern Du clan was not that fortunate. They had walked all the way to the center before they began to fight, and the vines here were more powerful. If they wanted to break out, it would be extremely difficult. It was even more difficult to battle to the end in order to leave. Thinking up to this point, Xianqiu's expression was one of unconcealed laughter. What, is the relationship between the Xianqiu clan and the Northern Du clan bad? Sima Yu asked rather curiously. She realized that when she was with these people and asked some insignificant questions, they would answer her. That was why, on the road here, she found out a lot of big and small information about the secret clans. Especially so for the other secret clans. Yes. Xianqiu, he said, the Northern Du clan is a little stronger than our clan. Northern Du Hao is a little more talented and often bullies the young master. Bullies Xianqiu he? Sima Yu's heart hurt for him as she turned to look at Xianqiu he, who was sitting on the wheelchair. She could imagine what it would be like for a person whose legs were immobile, to face off against an incomparably arrogant talent, who was both arrogant and aggressive. He even bullied a high-standing immortal-type male. She had never seen him, but she didn't have a good impression of that talent or whatever you call him. Xianqiu's expression still carried a faint smile. It's nothing much. You're such a good person, the one who bullies you is definitely not anything good. Sima Yu said, the type of environment will nurture a person in that type of way. A person who would be able to nurture a person like Northern Du Hao would mean that the clan wasn't anything good. After walking out from the vine area, Floey pulled on Sima Yu's clothes, raising her head and asked, Yu, can I eat some more? Didn't you eat till you were very full just now? She even burped. But I still want to eat. Then you can go ahead and do it. If you can defeat them, I won't disagree. Sima Yu said. Floey turned around and looked at the captivating delicacies. She evaluated that she was much weaker than them, and finally had to give up. Delicacies were to be treasured, but one's life is worth even more. Furthermore, at this time, it was best not to bring more trouble to Yu. Once she had gone further, the vines finally let down their guard and heaved a long sigh. Is it really that guy? Definitely. Otherwise, how would she be able to eat us? Not just anyone can. Oh my heavens, too scary. Really didn't think that we would actually be able to meet that guy. Yeah. She hasn't yet grown fully and is already able to suppress us. Once she's matured, I think that we'll probably have to listen to her orders by the next time we meet her. Really scary. We hope that we never have to meet her again. They're headed to that direction now. I wonder whether or not they'll survive. Why wouldn't they be able to? Did she ever die early in any of her previous lives? This is ordained by heaven. Sigh, it seems like the day we have to call her our king is coming. It's a good thing she didn't continue saying that she wanted to eat us. You should say that she hasn't yet fully grown and was thus unable to unleash her full strength. Otherwise, if she wanted us to sacrifice ourselves, we wouldn't be able to say a word. Fortunate. Really extremely fortunate. I say, it's been so difficult for her to appear again, should we protect her? It seems like we should. Sima Yu and the others had walked far away and were totally oblivious to the sounds of their discussion. Previous chapter. Next chapter. It could be that the battle the previous time was too shocking, so they remained in the forest and walked around for the next few days, but they didn't get attacked anymore. It seemed like those trees did not have any spiritual intelligence. Young master, something is weird. Xianqiu said. A little. Xianqiu nodded, instruct everyone to be more vigilant. On the way here, they found many traces of battle, but the traces showed that it wasn't between humans. This proved that the guys in the forest were truly dangerous. However, their journey had been too peaceful. Understood. Xianqiu and Xianqiu had the same thoughts. There definitely had to be a reason why they didn't face any enemies the whole way here. Without knowing the reason why, they would have to be more vigilant. Wu Lingyu glanced at Floey and Sima Yu followed his line of sight. Then, she looked at him with puzzlement. Did he feel like it had to do with Floey? When she contracted Floey, he was around and knew all about Floey. Perhaps I was wrong before. Wu Lingyu said. What? Floey's identity. What's up with Floey? Isn't she the man-eating flower king? Sima Yu looked at the chaotic flora and fauna in the forest and didn't feel like there was anything different. Maybe she is the world flower king. Wu Lingyu didn't really believe it either. When he saw her contracting Floey, he was very clear about her origins. However, now that he saw things this way, it wasn't something that a little man-eating flower king could do. Just talking about the fact that she was able to eat the vines. The average plant-type spirit beasts wouldn't be like that. Could it be that following Sima Yu actually allowed her fate to change accordingly? As she advanced in rank, her contracted beasts also advanced in rank. As she went through tribulations, her spirit beasts did as well. There were times they would directly face the tribulations with her. This might have made their wheels of fate turn from their original destination and made their futures unknown. Perhaps this was the real reason. Floey, how did she rise in rank? Sima Yu felt somewhat stupid. The World Flower King? Wu Lingyu told her about his conjecture, then added on, it's not that this has never happened before, but from my past life till now, I have never seen it happen. If this really is the case, it wouldn't be too bad. Sima Yu touched her chin. The more powerful the people beside her got, the more powerful she would be. She already had a Crimson Flame who could command all the bird clans. If she also had a Floey who could command the vegetation ones, it would be too amazing. Don't be happy too quickly. Seeing how she is now, she hasn't successfully transformed. Wu Lingyu said, if she wants to become the real World Flower King, she still has more to go. You have to nurture her properly. It'll be fine if there's an opportunity. Sima Yu sighed, but we have to see whether or not she's willing. This road definitely won't be an easy one. That's only natural. You can hand her to me. If I hand her to you, she might become half a waste. Sima Yu said, no way, I'll give her some conditions, then we'll see how it goes. That's alright too. Wu Lingyu didn't force it. She had always thought through her own things well. Sima Yu suddenly thought of something and subconsciously looked towards a specific area. What's wrong? Didn't I release many scarlet bees when we entered this forest? Sima Yu said, they sent news earlier on saying that some people up ahead have started fighting. Up till now, more and more people have been coming. Wu Lingyu said. What he meant was that, where there were people, battles were common. After all, they had all come here to seek treasures. However, the ones who are fighting are the Eastern Lai clan and the Northern Du clan. Sima Yu said, Xian Qiu he seems to have a pretty good relationship with the Eastern Lai clan. If you want to tell them, go ahead. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yu smiled at him, then went to Xian Qiu he sighed. Are you certain? Xian Qiu Ji's reaction was greater than Xian Qiu he's, the Northern Du clan is stirring up trouble again. That, the Eastern Lai clan seems to be no match for them. Sima Yu said. How do you know that? Xian Qiu Ji was rather curious. He was stronger than she was, so how did she know when he couldn't even sense it? Sima Yu was silent for a moment, saying, when we entered the forest, I released a few scarlet bees when you were not paying attention. Her use of scarlet bees was no longer considered a secret by now. It was fine for her to tell them. Furthermore, Xian Qiu he knew long ago. Young master, I will lead men to rescue them. Xian Qiu Ji said. Be careful. Xian Qiu he nodded, we will rush over. Alright. Xian Qiu Ji led his men and departed, running towards the direction that Sima Yu had told them about. They only left 30 guards behind to protect Xian Qiu he. Sima Yu saw that they had left so straightforwardly, and was a little surprised. Aren't you worried that I'm cheating you and intentionally deceived them to deal with you? She asked Xian Qiu he. We are friends, so we still have this bit of trust among us. Xian Qiu he said. Sima Yu smiled. That was right, they were friends. He believed that she wouldn't do anything untoward towards him. We should head over as well. He pushed his wheelchair and left. He was not much slower than Xian Qiu Ji and the others. That was why, by the time they had rushed over, the battle had yet to finish. However, due to the addition of the Xian Qiu clan, both sides were locked in a stalemate. Sima Yu looked at the two talents, Eastern Lai Li, Northern Du Hao. One was refined and elegant while the others was frivolous and flamboyant. Northern Du clan was truly stronger than the two clans because the battle did not stop just because the Xian Qiu clan joined in. Northern Du Hao watched as Xian Qiu he slowly approached, his eyes flashed with disdain. Xian Qiu he, you're blind and lame. Why did you run here to join the fun? Swords have no eyes here. It would be a waste for you to throw your life away for nothing. This guy was really nothing good. Sima Yu had already sealed her impression of Northern Du Hao. Northern Du Hao, shut your damn mouth. Eastern Lai Li cried out. Xian Qiu he did not act in rage as he crossed his arms and replied, nobody knows what the ancient mines are like. Northern Du Hao, are you certain that you want to waste your energy here? Aren't I just accompanying you guys and playing around? Northern Du Hao did not think much of these two clans at all. I wonder if, after playing with us, you will still have the energy and heart to enter the mines and play with others. Xian Qiu he smiled lightly. Northern Du Hao saw his eyes shine and hesitated for a moment before smiling coldly, we'll wait and see. Men, let's go. After saying this, he led his men away. The Xian Qiu clan and Eastern Lai clan finally heaved a sigh of relief. If they really fought, they would be dragged down even if they didn't die. Northern Lai Li came beside Xian Qiu he, knelt down and grabbed his hand, thank you. What is there to thank? If it were you, you would have done the same. Xian Qiu he had a light smile on his face, subtly pulling his hand back. Previous chapter. It was unknown whether or not Eastern Lai Li noticed as she stood up and said with a smile, no matter what you say, you did save us. No, the truth is that she saved you all. Xian Qiu he pointed at Sima Yu. Easternly looked at them questioningly. You was the one who told us that you were ambushed here. Otherwise, we would probably still be resting where we were. Xianqiu, he said. Easternly looked at Sima Yu with a gaze that was still confused and a little disdainful, but she covered it up very well. Thank you. She smiled at Yu. However, the smile did not reach her eyes. Sima Yu was a very sensitive person, so how could it have gone unnoticed? However, this person was a high-up lady after all. She was not a negligent person and was able to pretend on the surface, which was hard to come by after all. Young Miss Easternly is too courteous. Sima Yu didn't call her young Miss Li. Her Li sounded the same as her own younger sister, Shimonli, but she was not as cute as her younger sister. I wonder, young Miss Yu, how did you know that we were in danger here? Easternly asked. My bees told me. Sima Yu waved her hand and a few scarlet bees flew down from the tree tops. They landed on her hand and shoulders. Scarlet bees? Easternly immediately recognized the scarlet bees. It was no wonder she was a knowledgeable young miss of the secret clan. Young Miss Easternly recognizes them as well. Sima Yu petted one of them, then with a light wave, it flew away again. Yes, my clan has 2 boxes of them as well. However, it is not as powerful as yours. They can even scout for information. Easternly had a better impression of Sima Yu. The average scarlet bee's queen bee did not birth many, and the lifespan of a scarlet bee was not long. That was why their clan had them, but their numbers were few. At the same time, they used them to produce scarlet honey for the clansmen to use. Her scarlet bees were actually able to scout for information and had a good relationship with her. This was something she didn't see in her own clan. However, there were just a few of them and they were not as useful. They were able to rescue them this time purely because of coincidence. Young Miss Li, how did you end up fighting? Xianqiu asked. Northern Duhao is so arrogant, but he wouldn't waste his energy even before entering the ancient mines. I was the one who started it. Easternly said. Why? No reason. Easternly smiled, not intending to disclose the reason. It's because Northern Duhao kept spewing slander against young Master He, so young Miss couldn't stand it and acted. A servant girl by Easternly, Shuaer, said. Shuaer. Easternly chided her, interrupting her before she could continue. It was because I was too rash, and ended up dragging my clansmen into the fight. Our Easternly clan owes you again. What do you mean you owe me? It was a very slight effort on our part. Xianqiu, he said, alright, you should be tired from what happened just now. Rest. We will hurry along again. Alright. Everyone eat some pills and rest. Easternly instructed her clansmen. When Sima Yu and the others were resting, she pulled Wu Lingyu and walked around the area, checking out how the surrounding situation was like. Flowey was not too interested in these people. She was even more interested in the flora and fauna. Oh, when she looked at these flora and fauna, she really wanted to eat them. What was going on? She used to eat meat and not veggies. Sima Yu watched as she looked around and saw that she would place those leaves and twigs that she liked into her mouth and chew. She noticed that every time she got close to the vegetation, they would inadvertently tremble. It seemed like everyone was very terrified of Flowey. Flowey didn't used to like eating this, so why did she develop an appetite towards the vegetation once we came here? The vegetation here is different from the ones outside. Wu Lingyu said. What's the difference? People rarely come by here, so they have little influence from the outside world. That is why they degenerate at a slower pace. Many contain ancient auras. Wu Lingyu explained, also, they're very high in rank, so it will be beneficial in terms of increasing her strength. That also meant that those in the past were too weak and Flowey didn't care for them? You're saying that, coming here this time, whether or not we actually obtain the mine, we would have repealed benefits. Sima Yu said. Your attitude has always been excellent. Wu Lingyu looked at her. This strength of hers was something he never had. That's because I already have a lot. Sima Yu said, I've never been greedy. In a world where everyone competes against each other, I wonder whether or not this is a good thing. Wu Lingyu tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. Who knows? Yu, look at this. Flowey hopped over in front of her, and held out a nondescript branch. What's up with this? Sima Yu glanced at the branch. It was very ordinary. This isn't from our time. Flowey said, I can smell a very terrifying scent on it. Very terrifying scent? Sima Yu turned around and glanced at Wu Lingyu. It has the scent of a spirit beast. Wu Lingyu said after taking it and sniffing it. When did you have the same nose as Xianqiu? Sima Yu laughed. I'm much more powerful than he is. Wu Lingyu said. Arrogant guy. Sima Yu ignored him as she took the branches and observed them carefully. What spirit beast carries this scene? Why would it be on these branches? I've never smelled the scent of those ancient beasts before, how could I know which spirit beast the scent belongs to? Wu Lingyu said. You're saying that the scent belongs to an ancient creature? Sima Yu and Flowey cried out. Should be. Wu Lingyu said, its aura is even more ancient than the scent of your little golden. It's about there. There. So you're saying that this place used to seal the ancient beasts? Or could it be that they've come from the ancient mines? Sima Yu's expression was rather solemn. If this was real, then this place had become a lot more dangerous. Could it be that this branch is that spirit beast? It doesn't look like it. Floey said. It should have absorbed the spirit beast's aura before, or its blood, or maybe even its excrement or things like that. Wuling Yu sighed. No matter what you say, this is a good item and is beneficial for her. Really? Then can we dig it all up? Floey's eyes were shining. Go take a look. Sima Yu said, if it really was useful to Floey, that would be extremely good. Floey led them forwards all the way to a relatively clear patch of land. It was 100 meters big and not a single grass or tree grew. In the heart of it lay a single 10-meter tall tree. In this dense forest, the trees were considerably short. However, this was tall and standing all alone. It caused Sima Yu to recall the time they first saw Qing Yi.